All right, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, here we go again. Beers and birds, you muppets.
Beer, 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 chimney, beer, beer, beer. A long time ago, way back in history, when all there was to drink was nothing but cups of tea. Along came a man by the name of Charlie Mock, and he invented a wonderful drink and he made it out of hops. Our Lord bless Charlie Mock, the man who invented beer, 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 tiddly beer, beer, beer.
Meads and birds.
Hello, welcome to the beer session. I'm Rob Wheeling. I'm here with Brad Weaver.
Hello.
And Mike Wallace.
Yep.
All right, in this session, we got a little treat. We're going to get down with the modern version of a true classic. Brad, what did you get your hands on today?
Oh, the mead is actually,
strong with this one.
Honey wine by some people. Some people don't consider honey wine, but it's a
What people would not?
honey type alcohol product from Redstone Meadery, a watermelon nectar mead. And Rob and I can never remember trying a mead.
I feel like it may have happened in my 20s when I was just a gallivant.
Oh, like forever ago?
our memory's not what
Yeah.
it used to be. So
20
this could have happened
It
at
could
some
have
point.
I feel
Yeah.
like it may have been offered to me, and it's like, dude, you want some mead? And I was like, sure. But I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know. Did I just construct that memory out of a story that I heard somewhere else? I don't know.
Maybe it was a dream.
Maybe it was a dream. Maybe I was just dreaming about mead.
Dream Weaver.
Maybe it's just from my Viking heritage.
It could be with that beard. Who knows?
That's right. With my Viking past, and it's just calling to me from my Nordic roots.
So this should be really interesting.
Well,
so
I think Mike's actually had mead.
Yeah,
though,
we
right?
should.
guys? Well-
I have.
Well, before we get into the history, why don't you tell your story or your experience with mead?
Mike's history of mead.
Yes. I had it, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 years ago at the Finger Lakes Wine Festival up at the Watkins Glen Speedway, at the NASCAR
Nice.
track.
Wait,
they
that's
had a
all
big
the way
wine
up in
festival.
That's upstate New York.
That
right?
is upstate
Oh,
New
I was
York.
near
We
that
took
when
a
I-
trip there, yeah.
Oh, it was a wine festival.
Oh, I've
but
been to
they were-
Watkins Glen. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was up in upstate New York for that 10-week training of mine there.
It was a mead festival or a
Yeah.
wine festival?
It was a wine
Yeah, 'cause that's
festival.
wine country up there.
It was
Yeah.
all wine, except for I happened to stumble upon a mead tent.
And you're like, I'm
And I'm
tired
like-
of wine, and yeah.
I'm
fill me
just
up.
inherently like my fist goes out with my glass, like
See,
boom,
yeah.
constantly.
How many glasses of wine were you in when you tried mead?
Oh, I was 75% through the day.
Wow.
okay.
So a couple.
That was good.
Healthy,
yeah.
healthy.
It was.
I
It
had
was not an
multiple
early choice.
glasses.
Not an early choice, but a later choice.
A later choice, yes.
You had multiple choice. You had multiple glasses of the same kind of mead, or you tried different?
no,
kinds
they
of
had a
mead?
couple different varieties.
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
Which one did you prefer? Do you remember?
They had a blueberry one, which was interesting.
Yeah, they did.
I think Oh, peach.
Peach.
Peach. They had a peach mead.
Okay.
Like, you got to have a
Peach
sweet
mead.
tooth. It is some sweet stuff.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess we'll find
But
out later
when
we
they say-
broke open this Redstone Meadery watermelon nectar.
Nectar of the gods.
Yeah.
They mean it. Like, it is delicious.
So that's interesting. So why don't we give our listeners a little bit of background on mead? And
Yeah. What exactly? I mean, you said it's a honey wine. But I
It'll
mean,
serve to educate us as well, because we have limited experience with this. But we just think with Beers and Birds, we've done pretty much every kind of beer we can do. So you want to change it up a little bit and go with something that's still an alcoholic beverage.
and a lot
but-
of beer places do have mead categories. A lot of beer halls
Yeah.
still have mead
Yeah,
categories.
and,
I still
here
'cause this
are-
is probably the OG. I think this is like where beer kind of came from, because this was here a long time before.
right.
that.
We're talking
This was way
7,000
before wine, yeah.
7,000 BC. It's estimated the first mead was made, which is
Yeah.
about 9,000 years ago. So.
which is insane.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
So yeah, I guess it probably is the granddaddy of them all. Really,
Yeah,
it's one of the first things they brewed. I mean, it looks like the brew process is similar, but yeah.
It's just it's kind of insane that it's been around this long, and it's just picking back up in popularity. We have that new meadery in downtown Lancaster. What was
Yes,
that
we
called
do.
again?
Medusa lid.
Okay.
Or, it looks like Medusa, but there's like an LID at the end.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. So it's Medusa, and I think there's a kind of mead. I think it's called methylid or something like that. So I think it's a combination of Medusa and
Oh,
methylid. So.
probably. that would make a lot of
So
sense.
it's Medusa lid.
I
so-
guess that's the thing about me that you get. Like you said, you had all those different varieties, because I guess it's been around so long and so many different cultures picked it up here and there that everybody makes different. I guess you just people make it differently. They throw different stuff in there and get a little creative.
Right. I mean, the basics are that you kind of take ingredients, you ferment honey with water, and sometimes with various fruits, spices, grains, or hops.
Yeah.
And you come out with an alcoholic beverage later. I think the really crazy part about it is, and I guess you have these ranges in beer, but it
Would you like to
gets
hear
into
an
barley line, 3.5% to 20% alcohol. So it can vary
That's
significantly.
extreme.
Yeah, that's like a session IPA or a
Right.
domestic beer all the way to like barley wine, like high
I
end.
guess it's how much honey you add in there. Yeah.
The thing is, it requires a lot of honey.
Yeah, the honey is probably the the burning sugar for the yeast that burns it off and creates the
Right.
alcohol.
Yeah, right.
So
And that actually lends to like
combination of the two.
a great variance in the mead, just even if you try to make the exact same mead, because it
Right.
kind of depends on a lot on what pollen these bees were eating.
Yeah,
Oh, sure. I
Yeah.
mean, and like also, I mean, in like
So it can vary.
Well, and the ancient ones were just like here's an ancient recipe that someone wrote down in 60 AD. So I guess even
2,000 years ago.
2,000 years ago. Take rainwater kept for several years. I don't know what that has to do with it, but that was interesting.
Well, I guess
Several years.
but rainwater was probably pretty good back
but I
then.
guess,
It
but maybe
probably-
they want the
yeah.
bacteria in that rainwater to trigger. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
Not today's rainwater.
Yeah, and mix
Acid rainwater.
and mix a
number of years.
Sponsored by
sextarius,
Monsanto.
a sextarius, which I guess is a unit of measurement of this water with a Roman pound of honey. For weaker mead, mix a sextarius of water with 9 ounces of honey instead of a pound, which I guess is roughly half, a little over half. The whole is exposed to the sun for 40 days and then left on a shelf near the fire. If you have no rainwater, then boil spring water. There you go. So that's all you really needed to get yourself. It's kind of like Pruno in jail, right?
The rudimentary days of
Kind of.
mead creation. But the crazy thing about this, it's been around 9,000 years ago, and that was, only 2,000 years ago. So 7,000 years into mead brewing, and there's still this crude, creation of this product. Yeah, just a random kind of throwing out of ounces of honey and some of the combinations of ingredients they use. But
It took them that long to know it was a pound of honey, Brad.
But that's the thing. But like you guys were talking about, what makes mead so interesting is you have variations in honey. But not only that, but you use different fruits. So there can be different levels of sugar in the
Yep,
fruits.
lots of
Absolutely.
that.
Different levels of flavor.
Different, yeah.
So when you're searching, what they want today is repeatability. So you want to be able to, if you're somebody that makes mead, you want to be able to recreate the same thing over and over because people
Right.
come to you.
That's
for
gonna
a
be hard
certain
to
taste or
ensure.
whatever. It's got to be. With
Yeah.
the honey being different. Like I said, you have different fruits. Like even one batch of Granny Smith apples may not taste the same as another batch. And
Sure.
as far as repeatability, it has to be a challenge. It has to be.
It has to be.
Right.
But I mean, even if it is a simple recipe, I mean, I don't know if the guys that made our mead are putting it in a mixing it with several-year-old water. in a
Maybe they
pot.
should try.
In the
Maybe,
40 days.
maybe the ratings will be a little higher.
Maybe that's the brand. Maybe that's their new that's gonna be their new flavor, like ancient. This is paleo mead.
Yeah,
Right.
but
There you
the
go.
one thing is, the water of today cannot be aged for a long time. Or else
Something happens.
The fluoride will settle out of it. It's a whole
you have
thing.
three-eyed fish growing in there somehow after a while. So yeah, probably not the best idea in the world, but it's very interesting. And a lot of people interchange mead with honey wine. There are some European cultures that count those as separate entities. But I think for our purposes over here in the United States, that you can interchange the mead and honey
Yeah,
wine.
I mean, some of them actually do put like hops and barley and make it kind of a mead hybrid beer kind of thing. I think Turkey does that.
yeah, and there's actually that place in downtown Lancaster. Mike and I were perusing the menu earlier, and they actually have a mead collaboration with a brewery where they take a stout and they mix it with some kind of beer. Do you have that up there?
Yes, I do.
I was just
have
curious.
It right
I think it was
here.
number
Cox
12.
Brewing, I
Number 12
believe?
on the menu. Yeah, it's called the Braggot. So it was,
Which is a type of mead.
It was a coffee stout mixed with a elderberry buckwheat mead. So that, and it's rated pretty highly for what their ratings are. So that sounds interesting to me, but I can't really make
Really does.
I can't make the full assessment because I haven't tried mead yet. So
You will find out.
yeah, we'll find out shortly here.
But yeah, this stuff is popular. It gets mentioned in Skyrim, like
Oh, yeah.
Canterbury Tales, Beowulf.
That's right. Blackberry mead's the good one in
Yep.
Skyrim.
I believe the Tolkien series, Lord of the Rings. They're drinking mead in that.
Oh, Game of Thrones is all about the mead.
There you go.
Beowulf, which is one of the literary tales that a lot of us had to read in high school. They talk about drinking mead there as well. So, so as far as the history goes, so pottery vessels dating back from 7000 BC were discovered in northern China, showing growing chemical signatures consistent with the presence of honey, rice, organic compounds, and associated with fermentation. So they consider this to be the origination of mead, 7000 BC, northern China. They've gone through all these steps where, many heroes of kind of Nordic tales and other
Did they drink it on Vikings? You saw Vikings.
Oh, they definitely do.
Yeah.
They have there's a mead poem, like a big old one of their ancient poems, like a Beowulf type poem about mead.
An epic.
It's translated as the Song of
An epic.
Mead.
Yes, the Song of Mead. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. And so a lot of cultures have embraced this drink over the course of history and have integrated it into their tales that they tell generation to generation. So that's really interesting perspective. And I guess if it's been around for a while and you've had a long day at work, that even people back then wanted something to let loose a little bit and relax, and it certainly helped them out quite a bit to be able to have a glass of mead.
It was probably almost medicinal back then, too. You didn't really have Tylenol or anything, so you drink this stuff and you have some aches and pains after doing whatever horrible fucking ancient shit you had to get up to back then. So, take a little edge off, probably helps get you to sleep a bit.
It was, I believe, to be like a fertility thing. It was drank on honeymoons a lot.
Oh, get your woman in the mood quicker.
That's right. It was the original aphrodisiac.
So,
or one of them.
See,
it's kind of crazy that it's been around for so long, and that it's kind of used the same way it is today. Except,
do you think this is probably like the first alcoholic beverage, really? Right, like the first commonly made over and over again.
Older than beer and wine.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you certainly have wall paintings, but recorded history doesn't go back that much further as far as written language, and this is when they're actually talking about it. So I'm sure they could have products older than this, but it's the same kind of process. You
need sugar.
There's one way to make alcohol, and that's fermenting yeast and using these sugar products to make the yeast make the byproduct of alcohol. So this is one of the earliest of recorded history.
And that's probably the most available sugar source throughout the world in ancient times anyways, was honey. You weren't really breaking down cane sugar back in the day.
Right. Cane sugar is relatively recent over the past couple hundred years here. So, honey's a great way to get sugar, and they utilized it. And
to great effect. They wrote epics about it. So
and it's
the Mayans and Egyptians were drinking this shit.
It's pretty. As far as what we know today, it's simple for us to make. So you're using the same yeast you use in winemaking, generally like white wine, to ferment the sugars from the honey and make the product. Usually has to sit for a couple weeks to a couple months. And they ferment well because they're using the same yeast at the same temperature, which wine is made. So it's a very similar process to making wine. Just rather than using grapes, you're using honey. So it's very similar in that way. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to that.
Well, I think it's just like you were saying. It's interesting that it can be made. It's a simple recipe that can be built upon. It's kind of like a sauce, like a spaghetti sauce. You can have this I mashed
it's
up
never quite the same.
I mashed up tomatoes and threw a little water. Here's my spaghetti sauce. Or you get some Italian grandma sauce, which is just out of this world.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So same sort of thing with this. I was just looking at this. It's still Ethiopian mead. They basically just that's pretty much. I'm going to mash this in some water and let it ferment, and I'm going to drink this out of this crazy looking bottle. So. But it's just, and then you go to the mead we're going to drink. It has watermelon in it, so I'm sure they did a whole couple more tricks than that. And then, at these mead places, like you said, you all these different kinds of meads with these.
They had tons of them. Yeah,
it's interesting. It just sounds like you can it's just this interesting base people can play with.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost been like being a chef. You have the creativity to be able to add whatever you want to it and see if it works. And it's not where. Brewing, I think, is a little bit more complex in the making end, and could certainly do the same things.
Like ingredient-wise?
Just how you brew and when you're adding stuff, and boiling and stuff like that, and it's not quite as intensive here as far as boiling and adding stuff, and you're adding hops at different parts. Like if you have a 90-minute boil, you're adding hops at, minute 10, minute 25, minute 40. So I think just beer's a different beast. And
I don't know. I mean, you could just still make just beer. Like I'm going to throw hops and water in here, and then I have beer technically. You could. Know what I mean? Like I want. I mean. No,
I don't want to minimize anything they're doing. I'm just saying from my perspective,
right.
It seems a little easier, and I don't want to minimize the skill that people that make mead, like just minimize what they're doing, because the ones that do it well will be the ones that sell. But
Brad's an anti-meadite.
Yeah, Brad's just shitting on the meat industry. Look, you can make that shit in a bathtub.
All right, let's be honest. The first mead I had was called Haterade, and I definitely was out. No, I am gonna give it. I'm gonna.
That's the recipe's been around forever.
I'm gonna try it with open arms, and we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited about it. It's something a little bit different. You've tried quite a few of the beers around the world, and we had a wonderful one, Hunapoo, last week. But it's also good.
You can't. What other beer can you have after Hunapoo? So we had to go mead.
Yeah, well, it's something new, something different.
Absolutely.
It's still an alcoholic beverage, and we're going to give it a shot. It's made a little bit differently, but I'm excited to kind of get a feel for what this tastes like. So.
And just the historical aspects of it, just how many, just the fact that it's been drank so long, I feel like we should give it a go.
Absolutely,
just to see how see how our ancestors had. Though they probably didn't have a whole lot of watermelons back in the day, but somebody did. Somebody threw some watermelons in there. I guess you threw in whatever you had, so I'm excited to try it. What's the ABV on this one?
8%.
8%, okay.
So anywhere 3.5 to 20 is the range, so we're somewhere in the middle. But the interesting thing, there's a lot of different types of meats. So this is maybe where you get your complexity, where people start adding stuff to change things. So there's the methylene, which is a spice containing. So you're talking about cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, or herbs. Stuff is like lavender, chamomile. So that anything with those kind of things added, it's a methylene. Anything that has a fruit is called a melomel. So that's your raspberry, blackberry, strawberry, or as we saw earlier, the elderberry with with the stout would be considered a melomel.
Are you sure these aren't like spells in Harry Potter? Like, what are these words again?
Yeah, they might be.
Well, they've been around for 9,000 years, so obviously they're kind of nerdy.
Druncus melomelis.
Yeah. And, there's a mulled mead, which is a Christmas time mead, which is made with spices and fruits, and traditionally warmed up by having a hot poker plunged into it. Don't read too much into that.
Really?
That's right from Wikipedia.
That's not the only place that plunger goes.
Whoa.
Or
Easy,
poker
Mike.
goes.
That's some Viking shit right there. They just were like, so how are we going to warm this up? I just took that shit off, stuck it right in there. And they're like, it's warm now. And they went, and they drank it out of a horn or something.
So, and it's weird. There are like fall meads too. Like, so meads that aren't traditional meads where wines are mixed with honey after fermentation as a sweetener. So some people, that's not a true mead because the mead is traditionally used with the honey during the fermentation process and not added after. But you actually can have, those faux meads that are kind of made that way. So
this one's a melomel, by the way.
Is it? All right.
Very nice.
You got your sizer, your braggots, your rotamels.
Yeah, the melomel, the fruit one. So we give a little bit of watermelon in there. So interested to see what this tastes like. So
these are the eccentric relatives of the base.
And there,
yes.
The crazy thing about meads is there's still a popular following for it too. Like there's many festivals out there. There's something called the Mazer Cup, which happens in Boulder. Which
I think that's sponsored by Redstone, isn't it?
That happens to be where Redstone's from. So
no way.
Yeah, it's one of the most popular mead cups out there. So it's a competition and tasting event, and it's over 300. So they have home meads and commercial meads. So there's a total of over 500 meads at this competition. So
home mead.
Yeah,
like homebrewer mead.
Yeah. Home mead, versus commercial mead. So
nice.
And there's also a festival in Chicago. There's a couple other international ones. There's one in Slovakia, and there's another one. It's like Orca Island Cider and Mead Festival. So not Wakanda.
Not Wakanda.
Like the killer whale.
It says Orca Island Cider and Mead Festival. It doesn't say where it is. Oh, Washington State. Okay, so we have 4 major ones that are in the States. There's Mississippi, Chicago, Colorado, and Washington, and then there's one also in Slovakia. So there is a certain amount of following to it. Obviously,
believe
they're having
it.
these festivals. So,
As soon as you texted that, I'm like, I love mead, and I haven't had mead in 5 years, and I distinctly remember how much I liked it.
And you remember it's significantly different from beer and or wine.
Oh yeah,
Like it's its own animal, you think?
it's a little closer to wine, but it's noticeably different.
Okay. All right.
yeah, I mean, the Redstone Meadery, it's in Boulder, Colorado, right where the
What's up, Boulder?
the festival is, and what was it called? The Mazer Cup. And they start out with a flagship black raspberry nectar, and they made quite a few other flavors since then. But
I wonder if that's where Skyrim got their blackberry mead, because that's like the finest mead in the game is the blackberry mead.
huh,
I wonder if that's where they got it. So
it could be.
when they're
It
looking at
sounded
The
like
expensive stuff.
one of their
Yeah.
most popular meads. So
and the brewer's a horrible person. The whole family, they're not good people.
bad people. So yeah,
Probably get
it's,
some black soul gems over there or something.
Totally.
I think it's growing in popularity, like many of the alcoholic drinks. Like a lot of these.
Like older, like the old school stuff's coming back, like classic cocktails.
Well,
stuff like that.
microbrewery,
Right.
micro.
Oh,
You
got people
that are
doing
making whiskeys,
the bourbons,
and
the
stuff
old
like that.
fashions.
Everybody,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Everybody's kind of making their own stuff, and they're just kind of turning their back on the macro culture that had survived for so long, and all these major corporations that mass made things. People are like, I can make it, and I can make it better, and a lot of times they're right. So more power to them. I'm excited about trying this. It's been around for 17 years, so the Redstone Meadery. So I'm excited. I love supporting local groups trying to make their name producing a product.
Yeah.
That's right. We will have to visit the local Lancaster meadery.
That's right. Maybe we'll have an episode after that in maybe a couple weeks, couple months.
A mead redo.
Maybe we could talk to the mead brewer.
And we can compare it to this one, which I'm curious to try. So
All right.
we're actually ready to break it out, I
let's
think.
uncork that bad boy and see what happens.
Let's do it.
All right. So big old bottle. What is that? A bomber? Is that 22?
It's a 750, yeah.
So it's got,
essentially a 22.
We're metric
and
people
it's got
here.
like a Grolsch cap on it, like a yeah.
Cool bottle.
Very cool.
Blue. I love the blue bottles.
Yeah, with a cap on it with the cork or pressure cap.
I got a growler that looks very similar to that.
Oh, look at that! It's real light.
Wine-ish, yeah.
It is
White wine.
effervescent. That's
Effervescent.
definitely carby.
Here, I'll trade you.
Okay.
Take this one. Oh, I could get the watermelon right
That's
away.
pungent.
I get the watermelon right away.
There we go.
Oh, it smells good.
Does.
It smells sweet. It smells good.
Definitely has more of a wine vibe to it. Like it's
Yeah, with a head.
Yeah, the head's
It's more of a
like a
lighter,
sparkling wine,
like like a sparkling cider / champagne kind of
Right,
like,
yeah.
head to it. It's definitely a light yellow, clear complexion.
a little rose color maybe in there.
It looks like
Maybe
a
that's the
carbonated
watermelon.
white
It smells
wine.
sweet.
Yeah.
I can smell
does.
honey, and I think I smell a little bit of watermelon. It's
Absolutely, I can get the watermelon off that.
smells really good.
Yeah, it has a kind of that wine smell to it as well.
Wow. And a couple of the reviews I said,
That's
wow.
the ticket.
tastes exactly the way you expect it to.
No,
and
it
when I
didn't.
think of a watermelon honey alcoholic drink,
That's
this is what I think of it tasting like. I think it's good.
I like it. It's different though. I did not know what to expect. I thought it'd be a little more
Like rolls off the back of the tongue in such a friendly manner.
I think it's a better champagne. I don't love champagne. I have it during New Year's, but I think it's a better champagne. It's
I get more of a cider vibe, like a real crisp cider, more than a wine.
A lot of ones, like the aftertaste you're getting, a lot of some of the meads that I had were like mainly less of what you're getting initially and a lot more of what you're getting in the aftertaste.
How do you mean?
I don't know. It tastes a little bit bitey at first.
Okay.
Like initially. But then like as soon as you breathe in, almost like some sake, the way it
Okay.
like warms up your throat a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's friendlier to your throat than it is to like the tip of your tongue. If that makes sense at all.
Yes.
It's smoother and warmer.
It's very smooth. It is smooth going down. I don't get any kind of aftertaste, and Obviously, since this is the first one, I can't compare it to anything else. Maybe
Right.
that's just the nature of meads in general. But it's good. It's good. It's very smooth. You can taste the watermelon. You can taste the honey.
Like the honey, yeah.
There are
absolutely.
other people that talked about like getting a licorice hint in there. I don't know
get
that
a
I
licorice
get
hint.
that at all. You get it licorice?
Mike,
No.
With your different meads, were any of them like different types of meads? Like, we have like stouts and pours with like a darker, thicker mead or anything like that? Or were they all...
They were all kind of variations of this color.
Okay.
Even like the blueberry one was... Actually, that one was fairly darker.
See, we need to leave.
And like a blackberry.
All right, we need to
They
get
wouldn't
ourselves-
be like this off-whitish looking color.
Does anybody have like 6-year-old rainwater? And we'll get ourselves a copper. We'll get ourselves a pot. We'll throw it in
We
the
can start
backyard.
collecting some.
Tune in. The podcast in 2024 is
That's
going to be
right.
lit.
This is my
You're gonna
backyard
get a rain
mead.
barrel out
I
right
buried it
now.
I buried it in the backyard.
Yeah, we're going to honey acid weed, and we'll see how their mead, and we'll see how it tastes.
I am going to look at their menu. Medu sold here.
That is good.
Because besides the one that they have on tap with the stout,
I definitely get more of a cider vibe.
yeah,
But I've
do
had
get
cider
I do get the
lately.
cider vibe.
Like, what is the one? Fox Ridge. The one up.
Or Windridge.
Windridge, I'm
Windridge
sorry.
Farms.
Yeah, they have
there's a fox on the label.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they have a real light, effervescent cider that this reminds me of. Although it doesn't have that, like, there's definitely that honey sort of.
For me, it's
Vibe
kind of
in
like it's a wine cider hybrid with honey flavoring.
Yeah, that's not too far off. I thought it'd be a little more beery. Honestly, I thought there'd be.
It's a lot less beery than
I was expecting.
I didn't know what to expect, but it's not like a beer at all.
No, yeah, it's more like
It's
a
not.
cider for me, like a kind of a nice upscale cider, which is funny because I just don't. It seems like such a sort of like elegant drink. I don't see like Vikings being like, ah.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe I just didn't
And
know
I'm not a
the proper
cider
Viking.
fan, but I love mead.
I see. I like a good cider. Brad, what's your
I'd
feeling?
like
on
to get
cider?
into a cider. It's never really worked.
An occasional cider, like I don't even know what craft ciders are, but Magners are your traditional run of the mill cider. I'll have one every once in a while, but
A warm cider. I could
Old
dig.
Scrumpy.
I'll have it, but
You're not doing a Reds?
I'm not ever finding, unless I'm at a place that doesn't have any beers to drink, I'll usually choose the beer over the cider. So I'll have one
they get a little-
occasionally, and usually it'll only be one. Like I can't drink more than one cider. I find them to be sweet, and just one will serve its purpose when
Yeah,
I'm
it's
ready to
just too
have
sweet.
one. Yeah.
I don't know. We used to make. There was a drink in England that was like a snake bite, where it was half cider, with black crayon in it.
Huh.
I used to love those.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Might be worth a try. Just because you had half beer in it, I think maybe that could pull me over a little bit. But yeah,
And the black crayon just pulls it.
straight cider. When somebody pours a pint, I'll drink that pint and maybe 4 times a year have it. Something.
It's
like that.
the cider here that I've had here. It seems a lot sweeter than the. Well, I guess like Magners and stuff is kind of sweet, but like Old Scrumpy was a lot more bitter, like a lot sourish tasting, and I sort of preferred those.
Well, and I don't want to offend cider people by saying Magners. That's like saying Miller Lite with
True.
beer. So I mean, yeah, there's probably better.
Just because we don't know all the great ciders.
I would take
they're
Magners
probably-
over. What is our cider? What is the cider?
Besides Windridge?
Yeah, what's the sort of popular cider?
Around here,
Yeah. Oh God, I just saw it the other day. Some sort of hard cider, but Angry
Woodchuck?
Orchard.
Oh, Woodchuck.
Woodchuck. That's
I've
what
had Woodchuck too.
I would
so.
much rather
An
have a
Angry
Mag-
Orchard.
Yeah, I'd much rather. I think that's kind of more beerish, kind of a hybrid thing. But yeah, Woodchuck. I'd much rather have a Magners than a Woodchuck.
Yeah, when I was in Ireland, I had a couple Magners just because they're around. That's what they have. They have Guinness. They have Magners.
Right. It's just
They've
like a
got a couple
classic.
things on tap.
Yeah.
Schmittix. They're every Irish bar has like 5 things on tap. It's their something
Right.
called McGonagall's, which is an Irish beer making company. They have an IPA. They have that. They have Schmittix. They have Guinness, and they have Magners. That's about what they have on tap. And an American beer,
What
like
was
a
the
Miller
other-
Lite or Budweiser. I forget which one. It
What's
was.
the other stout? I saw a lot of that too. Not Guinness. It's
Kilkenny?
no. That's gonna bother me now. Like it was everywhere.
An Irish stout, huh?
Murphy's. It was Murphy's.
Oh yeah, they have Murphy's
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, Murphy's.
But now this is on Untapped. This watermelon nectar mead is on
See,
Untapped.
there's another
and it's
connection
only
here.
been checked in 336 times.
Wow.
Huh? Interesting.
which is not a lot over a couple-year period.
Well, mead's it's the new beer.
Yeah, but the hard thing about it is like, if this is the only thing you remember, how do you grade it? Like I have nothing. I have no frame of reference. There's no bar. There's nothing to compare it
Oh,
to.
that's
so
true. Nothing to
I'll
base
just
it
give
on.
it a
just kinda
5,
like-
and we will go from there.
and never try meat again.
Yeah, I'm gonna give
This
it.
meat is better than the 5 I gave, so I'm gonna have to give it a 5.5.
I'm gonna give it like a good 3.5, and then assume everything else might be better or worse. And if it turns out this is
Actually,
better, we might have to come back.
And if I'm grading on an actual mead scale, like I'll give it a 4.
I like it. I like it enough to be middle of the road.
4.25.
Like I think that I would give it a 3.5 too. So
yeah,
I'll make it a 3.75 overall
this
with
is,
Mike's
we'll use this as
4.25.
our base, and then we'll go from there.
There we
and
go.
And if I have a lot of really bad meads after this one, I'm going to raise this one up.
You might,
I'll
yeah.
come back
Yeah.
for you. I'll
Yeah.
come back for you, Redstone. I just don't know. Like I'm with Brad. I don't know how to judge this yet.
It's only fair to put it in the middle of the road till you have a frame of reference.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens, and over the course of time, we'll try some more. So and we'll try other kinds. So this one we tried is a metheglin, or it's a
Melomel.
melomel. So that melomel's a fruit. Metheglin's the spices one.
That's right. You got the Acerglin with the maple syrup. You got the Braggot, which is the mead beer blend with hops and barley.
Yeah.
The Rhodamel, which is the really old style laced with roses. And there's a couple other ones with some flowers in it as well.
So melomel is basically any
Like fruit,
yeah, anything, any fruit in the mead, it becomes a melomel.
pretty much.
And spices is just generally metheglin.
And then they got some other weird ones. So then there's an Estonian version, which is just it just says Modu, an Estonian traditional fermented drink with a taste of honey and an alcohol content of 4.0%.
Well, I was going to say maybe that's what the Vikings drank, but then
Yeah.
4%. I think of Vikings as like 12% people.
Well,
so
maybe they just drank a lot of it.
they could do that too. That's a way to overcome 4%.
Maybe that's how they still maintain their wits on the battlefield.
That's right.
Yeah, well, you say, well, I'm going to have an all-day IPA, but I'm going to have the 19.2 ounce
you
can
know they're
instead of
drinking
the
that
12 ounce
shit
can.
for breakfast on the boats. So, you know what I mean? It's like, they probably drank that all
To hydrate.
Exactly, yeah. All right, mead.
Interesting
There's your
turn.
taste test.
Interesting turn.
If you guys find it out there, give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. Give mead a try. Like I said, I feel it's more of a cider.
But I would throw the warning out there. Expect to spend a little bit more money than you used to. A 750 ml bottle. Now this was at our bottle shop that has the bottle shop markup. Take that into consideration. But the bottle we got, 750 mLs, was $24. So
yeah, right.
It's not cheap.
And this is because the bee population has been halved over like the past 60 years. So honey's just expensive.
yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what the?
Is that why
It's,
it's so expensive?
Is
it's
that
the
where
honey.
you found out the cost?
Oh, and
cost of
it takes so much honey to make it, like an absorber.
It takes
amount.
multiple gallons of honey.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're just putting a pinch in. You're putting a load of honey.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I was curious. I was like, why
Yeah.
is this so expensive?
Right.
It
I'm
seems
thinking,
so
like,
easy
could
to
I get like
make,
a
or-
bee house in my backyard, and would my neighbors be pissed off about that?
Yes.
My
Yeah, I
neighbors
think you're
growing
right.
up had beehives next door. The craziest thing is when those bees go rogue and they go away from the beehive. There's this like swarm of bees like running around the neighborhood, and everybody was freaking out.
No way.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, but
It sounds like a cartoon or something.
no, yeah, it was an interesting. I know nothing about it except that my neighbors had bees, and one time the bees were swarming around them.
Maybe they were
I feel
mead
like
makers.
Flanders would do that and just piss off Homer.
Well, yeah, maybe they were tired of making mead. They'd be like, "Yeah, man, my honey's good for more than mead."
Yeah. What's going on here? man?
We're
Gotta
getting
take-
ripped off.
It was a strike. Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe it was a union thing.
Could have been.
Yeah, you never know.
Like that whole Seinfeld B movie. That
You
was
never
kind
know,
of about
man.
that. They went on strike.
It's possible.
That was very similar.
All right.
Well, Redstone Meadery, we like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
go
good
with it.
stuff. Yeah, I'd try their stuff again. I think just to try other people's stuff that I want to try other brands before I come back.
Oh,
to them.
absolutely.
But I would come back to them
Definitely.
at some point. So
It's a good. I like it. It's a good. It's different. Just shuffle it in there every now and again.
I think for us, it's good to put it in the rotation just because it's something different. Changes
right.
things up a
That's
little
right.
bit. So
Expand your palate. Open your
right.
mind.
broaden your horizons.
All right. That's going to do it for us on this beer session. Anything else to add on mead, fellas, before we say goodbye to the folks?
You mead to try some mead.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
It's good stuff. I like it. It was worth a shot, and I'll try it again.
All right. Take care, guys. Cheers. Beer Session is a Beers and Birds production. There'll be free beer tomorrow with a $5 charge for one.